Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. We're going to create our object within our perspective grid. And we're going to begin with the single point perspective. Now what I've done is I created a 5 by 7 file format within a 200 ppi, just something to work with some vector shapes in. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start by establishing my horizon line first. And I'm going to utilize our guides to assist me on this one. Now, where you place your horizon line, remember your horizon line is going to be the elevation of your camera, wherever your camera is on a vertical axis here. If I'm going to put the horizon line below, you're going to be looking at your object from a more of a bug's eye view. If you put it above, you'll be seeing your object from more of a bird's eye view. I'll put it up somewhere right about there. Now our vanishing points are going to be falling somewhere on the horizon line, and that is always the rules. The rules that must be followed in a one-point perspective is, number one, as I just mentioned, your vanishing points are going to fall somewhere along this horizon line, and all horizontal lines are going to be terminating at one of these two vanishing points. So our horizontal lines on the right hand side is going to terminate to the right point and vice versa to the left. Okay, let's go ahead and establish our vanishing point locations. I will utilize my guide over to the left and drag a vertical guide to cross section. Now keep in mind that the closer we are to the document bounds, the more of a wide angle effect you're going to get, and the further away from the document bounds, the more of a telephoto effect we're going to get. I'm going to go somewhere right about there in between. I'm going to go grab another section for our vanishing point. I'm going to take it right about there. It doesn't have to be even. If it's going to be slightly off, we're going to be looking at one side of the chair. If it's going to be slightly off to the left, we're going to be looking at more of the right side of the chair on this side. So that's pretty much self-explanatory, but let's go ahead and establish our vanishing point grids. Remember, all horizontal lines are going to terminate at one of these 2 points, and what we're going to do is we're going to create those lines. I'm going to go right over here to my vector tools and target the polygon tool. Make sure that under your options bar here, you see a little gear symbol. On the right hand side of the sides, make sure it's 99. Drop down the gear, make sure the star is targeted, and make sure you indent by 99. And what's going to happen is, if I take my crosshairs, place it right on the right vanishing points on the right hand side, and there we go. We have our vanishing point grid there. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, place it right on the vanishing point on the left hand side of my document bound, and pull it on over, and that's going to represent the perspective grid coming to the left. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull this on over, and let's give this some color, or these lines some color, so that we can easily assess where things are going to be when we actually create our object. I'm going to double click over here to get our layer style. So I double clicked on this little blank area on the right hand side of the layer, little shortcut for getting layer styles. And what I want to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to find stroke. I'm going to make sure that I'm stroking on the outside, because the lines are so thin, inside you're going to see no effect. So there we are. So I've got red on the outside. Now I can go back and double click on the right hand side here and do the exact same thing, but I'm going to hold down the Alt Option key and drag stroke on top of the other, turn it on. Now I have that stroke applied to the other side. I want to change the color, so I have to double click on stroke, come over here, let's go ahead and change this to something like a green, and all done. Okay, so now I can see my vanishing point grid easily from both directions. So what I'd like to do is this. I'm going to group these two, select them both, Command G, they're a group. Go ahead, I'm going to call this one perspective, just to keep organized. I'm going to make a new layer beneath this group. So if I hold the Control key or the Command key on the keyboard and make a new layer, it makes a new layer right beneath it. Alright, now with that group targeted, perspective, I'm going to bring down the opacity so it makes it a lot easier for me to see what I need to be doing. Let's make our chair. As you can see, our horizon line is pretty much a little higher in the document, which means we're probably going to be looking on the top portion of our chair. I'm going to start with the side of the chair, and I'm going to create that utilizing the rectangle tool. Alright, zoomed in a little closer. I have my background targeted. Now keep in mind that my background, I utilize this adjustment layer as a solid color. So if I ever want to change the perspective of my document bounds, I can change it. And of course, the background color is always going to be filled white. Let's go to my vector tools. Right below the T command, I'm going to grab the rectangular. And I'm going to start with the side of my chair. I'm going to be below my horizon line a little bit. And I'm going to make the side of the chair right there. Now I've made it white by default. I'm going to double click it, give it a medium gray. And there we have something to contrast with. Now I'm going to utilize my vector tools. I'm going to go to my direct select tool. There we go. The white arrow tool for my vector tool set over here. And I'm going to start placing the points to match my perspective line. So I'm matching the perspective. That is the rule. Match the perspective of all horizontal lines, and your vertical lines will always be completely vertical. Now I can use my arrow keys and nudge it up straight up so it stays as vertical as possible, so as I originally established it. And I'm following these lines. Okay, that's going to be the side of my chair. I'm going to make a simple square chair just to keep it clean and easy for you guys to understand. Now I have one side of the chair. Remember, this is a two-point perspective. We need to establish the second side of the chair, which is going to be the green lines with the vanishing point going over to the right-hand side. So make another rectangle. Now some of you are probably going to want to duplicate it and then manipulate it that way. I wouldn't recommend it. Just make another square. It's just much faster and easier. I'm going to control my lighting. I'm going to say the lighting is going to be hitting more of the right-hand side. So I'm going to make this a little brighter. So double clicking on the vector icon, I'm going to just brighten it up just a little bit. There we are. Okay. Now it may be helpful to make the background a little bit darker. Actually, let's go ahead and double click on that adjustment layer. And this is why I use adjustment layers, so I can come in here and play with them any time that I want. And now I'm looking at it and I'm realizing, no, that may not be that beneficial. So we'll just stay white. But it's good to see that you have that flexibility. All right, let's go back to my direct selection tool. Select that vector shape up here. I selected both of these icons and I'm going to, or the points, move it on over, get in closer. Select this one, but I'm clicking and dragging a little rectangle around it, matching it as much as possible. Now let's match this edge, bring it straight down using the arrow keys to my keyboard, bring it on over, and let's match the perspective of the green line. So looking at this green line, which is coming fairly close to the side, I'm going to match that perspective there. Okay, is that making sense? Okay, we're matching that perspective. Grab this point here using the arrow keys and just bring it straight up. So this one's right at the bottom of this line, so I'm going to accomplish the same right about there. Okay, so now we're creating a perspective that's working. So what we need is the top part of the chair. So once again, we're slightly below the horizon line, therefore we're going to be seeing more of the top, the bird's eye view of the chair, a very slight bird's eye view, since the top of the chair is fairly close to the horizon line. So I'm going to go and get another rectangle. Select it. It doesn't have to be that big. And I think what we'll do is I'll make this one probably slightly brighter. Let's go just slightly like so. Okay. Or maybe slightly darker. Let's try that. I have that flexibility. That's what's nice about using these vector tools. Now, since the light's going to be coming from the side, I'm going to establish the light is coming from the right hand side and from the top, so it will be a little brighter than them both. There. Okay, that'll work. All right, go to my direct selection tool, select the one point and drag it. It's almost like using the distort command in Photoshop when you're distorting objects, but vector shapes is nothing but a system of points. and vector and colors being drawn within those points. All right, so we already know the top half is aligns to the red lines. Now we need to get these to conform. So I'm going to select this point here and drag it on over and connect it to the edge of the box. Now, remember, we have to place this where? This has to follow the green lines. This side must follow perspective. Now, the hardest thing for you to do is that you have to control yourself of wanting to do what you want to do. You cannot do what you want to do. You have to follow the rules of perspective. Now, this top line here is not following the red lines, which is the perspective rule in this scene. So I'm going to push it up and push it over until this line follows the red, and also bring it over a little bit and down so that this side follows the green, and it's working. Okay, so this side is following the green, this side, bring it down a little bit, is now following the red, so it looks right in perspective. So if I click it, there's our chair. Let's go ahead and create the legs for our chair. I'm going to go to another rectangle. Now, what's really helpful is if I place all these into a group. So select all the vector shapes, Command G, double click it, and we're going to call this one chair. Okay. And we can open them up and continue to create as usual. I want to put the legs underneath all of these here. So I'll start at the top and then I'll drag it down. So go ahead and grab it and we'll create our first leg. Okay. And we'll drag it underneath it. There we are. And the reason I did so, I'm going to grab the black arrow, path selection, so I can select the whole thing and move it around. So the leg's going to end up disappearing behind it as an end result. So I'm going to pull this down. All this must follow the rules of perspective. Since this is hiding, it's not going to matter if we pull it down or not, but let's go ahead and follow the rules of perspective for practice. Bring it down. I'm going to zoom in a little closer. Push it down. Follow the perspective lines. There. Okay. The same thing with the bottom. This side is following the red lines. Grab this point here. Push it up. And we're going to follow perspective like so. Okay. And we can shorten this up a bit too. Let's go ahead and push these on over. And when we pushed them over, it kind of threw off perspective a little bit, so we're going to nudge them up. Okay, grab this point and nudge it back up. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking that this leg is probably going to take on the shading of this side of the chair. So what I'll do is I will double click it, have my eyedropper, target that shadow, and there it is. Okay, the front side of this leg is probably going to take on more of the shadow of the front here. So we're going to create one more, well, not one more, but another rectangle. We'll make it a little bit thinner. It's right above the other, but behind everything else. Get it in close. All right, I'm going to nudge everything on over. Let's go over here and get that tool, the black arrow tool, and just nudge everything so that it is close. I'm going to go ahead and double click this, select the brighter highlight of this other one, turn it on. There we go. So you see how it's all working now? Let's go over here, direct selection, select these 2 points, bring it up. Now, this leg of the chair, or this face of the chair, must follow the rules of perspective. It has to follow the green lines. There. Okay? See how all this is working? See, the problem is that photographers composite things. They're using photographic images utilizing or from different focal lengths of lenses, which produces their own particular focal length. And when they composite them together, we can see that there's something wrong because perspective isn't right. So what we're doing is we're learning how to get perspective as accurately as possible. Let's go ahead and do the legs for here and the legs for the front. Okay, and go ahead and get another rectangle. Bring it down. Okay, now follow the rules of perspectives. Get in close. go to my white arrow, which is our direct selection tool, select these 2 points so I can line it up with the edge of that chair there. Select this one, and once again, but let's do this side here so we can bring it downward. Okay, so it matches perspective as much as possible. Now we come over here. Where is this going to actually fall on the floor in perspective? If the side of this is hitting this red line, the side of this one must hit that red line. Now, to get a little bit more floor, hit the C key for the crop tool. Now remember, we made an adjustment layer for the white, so if I bring this on down, see, all my perspective lines are still there, and I get a little bit more space. Okay, I'm not messing with the right or left side, so I'm not going to be tweaking perspective, but just going down vertically. So everything in vertical relationship will always be completely vertical. So let's go ahead and get my direct selection tool, select these 2 points, bring this edge all the way down to the top of that line right there. Grab this point, it matches perspective. I'll select them both, pull them down a bit, select this one, kind of get in a little closer. That's close enough there. Alright, so this has to match this color, right? So double click it, and then just bring your eyedropper. You get an eyedropper and select it. There we are. Okay, click OK. Let's get another rectangle, pull it on over. Okay, let's go play. Go to my direct path. I can move the whole thing over. There we are. And I'm going to go to the direct selections, make it thinner, like so. Take on the nature of this color here. That's establishing the lighting, double clicking. So for the homework assignments, when I talk about establishing the lighting, that's what I'm talking about. Making it look like it's true to the perspective. Select this point and bring it on down to match your perspective. There we are. Bring both of these up slightly. I'm going to get in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. There we are. To the bottom, match the green, because this is going, all the points are going to the vanishing point to the right. There. Okay. Everything is flowing to perspective. I think you guys are starting to get the point. Let's do one more just to finish this up. Pull it on down. I'm going to start with the front side of the chair. Now keep in mind that the front face of this leg is at this green line right here. So this has to come down as well. So let me make sure they're lined up properly. So go to my black arrow tool, because I can select the whole thing and move the whole thing on over. It's just easier. And I've hit the A key and switch this over to my white arrow tool. And I'm going to bring this down. And remember, both of these have to come all the way down below. It's just almost below that line. It's just at the bottom. Basically, go ahead and grab this point at the top. Pull it down. Okay, that looks good. That's already matching the front facing. One last one. Grab it. This one is going to match this color here. See, it's all starting to make sense. Hit the A key, black arrow tool, shortcut for my direct selection tools, my vector selection tools. All right, looking good. Hit the A key again and go to the white arrow tool. Getting close. Like I mentioned, I don't have to move these behind here since you won't see it, but stay in good habit, stay in good practice. Pull both of these up right at the top, and then this side, let me go over to the black arrow again so I can nudge that on over to connect it. Perfect. Hit the A key again, select this one, and it has to conform to what line? The red line. So every line is matching our perspective grid. It's looking correctly. So if I go ahead and build the back side of the chair to bring it up, I can do so. Right now I have more of a table, but we can go ahead and let's take the back side of the chair. Let's take it from back this way. Let's go get our rectangle tool, select it, let's bring it up a little bit. There we are. Getting closer. And let's move this on over. Move it down. I'm just using the arrow keys just to help me out, make it a little easier. Going to taking these points on the left-hand side. I'm gonna get in closer. It looks like it's connecting with the corner of that chair pretty well, so I'm gonna leave it alone. So all we need to do now is just bring this one side down to match what? To match the red lines. There, see? There we are. And of course you can probably guess from here that if I make yet another, we're going to be making the side of this. So double click on it, grab that value, okay? And I can click and drag and move this around if I like. I like under the view menu, I like to turn off the snap. So things aren't snapping around on me. I can move them at will manually. All right, edge these down. So if we go down below, this corner is going to connect with this corner right about there. Okay, I'm going to grab these 2 points and move it over 1 pixel. I think that works. Now this has to do what? We need to bring both of these thinner. All right, going to bring it on over. That's going to be that looks good. Now this is going to be the right side, or not the right side, which is going to be matching what grid? It's going to be the green lines. Bring it up there, just nudging it right about there. Okay, and select the bottom point here, and we bring it down so it matches the perspective grids right down here. So both of these can come down actually, so it matches like so. Okay, so it should be on top of everything. I think it's below, so I'm going to drag this up to the very top there. It's just a layer positioning problem, and there it is. Okay, so the only other thing is this backing really should come to the edge. We can go back and get it. Let's go turn it off and on, so I'll make sure I have the right layer, which is right there. Okay, and that backing itself, I'm going to get the white arrow tool, bring it on over. See, it's going to come to here. Take this point, bring it up so it matches that corner. It's a little bit of a distance in here, that's all right. Select it. All this here, nudge it over. Now we have the connection. Go over to here, move this down so we connect with that corner. Okay, and it appears that we have another layer positioning problem. No big deal. We'll just go ahead and place it on top there. That way it's covering everything properly. So the last thing that needs to be done is to make sure that the bottom edge of the chair matches perspective, and it has to match the what? The red line. All right, so the top portion here is not matching the red line accurately, so we come up and we deal with that. Okay, there you are. Basic chair. Of course, we can add masking to cut out the interior, so we can have a little open space in here if we want to, but it gives you an idea of how to use perspective. I probably would make this a little bit thicker backing. Maybe the base of the chair could be thinner or thicker. It's up to you. So when you create your custom object, choose what you want. Make it, try a chair, try a table. You know, just kind of play around with it. So give me something that's going to match your perspective, and give me something that shows that you know how to create within those perspective bounds. Okay. All right, so single point perspective. I hope you enjoyed that. Good luck on your assignment. Just post on the forum, ask questions, help each other out. Steve Burns signing off.